أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين. My name is Faizan Said. I'm the Executive Director for the Council on American Islamic Relations here in the state of Missouri. I want to make a video discussing the Muslim ban, what it means, and just some very important information for everybody who's watching this video to know and to share with as many people as possible. I've been getting questions and calls and emails, including myself and our attorney Robert West, for the last several days, and I want to make a video that can just be easily understood and shared. A few things to keep in mind. The executive order passed by Donald Trump, what it does is it in essence stops people from 7 countries from entering the United States. Those countries are Iran, Iraq, Syria, Libya, Yemen, Sudan, and Somalia. Again, Iran, Iraq, Syria, Libya, Yemen, Sudan, Somalia. It suspends the entire U.S. refugee system for 120 days. It suspends Syrian refugees permanently. So no more Syrian refugees coming to the United States, even though the United States has bombed the heck out of Iraq and is the reason why there is this civil war and this Syrian crisis in the first place. It bans entry from the 7 listed countries for 90 days, and it favors religious minorities, such as Christians particularly. So if you're a Christian, then you're favored, and if you're a Muslim, then you're not favored. Of course, this is kind of crazy because it's a religious test on who people's coming in, but again, that's what the order itself says. And it's lowered the total number of refugees of 2017 down to $50,000, which is the lowest it's been in decades. And the reality, this is a time when globally there are more refugees now than there have been really like in human history perhaps. And for the U.S. to do this, it undermines the values of the United States of America. Either way, so let's just jump right into it. If you're a green card holder, or if you're a lawful permanent resident outside of the U.S. and you're from these 7 countries, please reach out to an immigration attorney before you come back to the United States. Please reach out to an immigration attorney before you come back to the United States. So again, if you're a green card holder from these 7 nations, please reach out to an immigration attorney. How do you do that? Just go online and Google USCIS G28. USCIS G28. It's basically a form you fill out that appoints an attorney for you. So as you're coming back to the United States, if there's any issue that happened, that attorney is able to defend you and support you as well. Remember, this temporary ban for 90 days on these 7 countries, it can be expanded. It can be expanded any day after 30 days of its initial release. So if you're from a Muslim majority country that's not those 7 countries, and you're there with a visa or green card or whatever it is, it's very encouraged for you to come to the United States as soon as you can. Don't delay. Don't let those 30 days come by and then your country's added to the list. Don't wait for that. It's not a good idea. Another problem that to take a side step, another problem I have with this is that the argument is that it keeps the United States safe. Fundamentally, it doesn't keep the United States safe. There has been no terror attack from anybody from these 7 countries since 1975. So since 1975 till today, there's been no terror attack whatsoever from these 7 countries. So this isn't about terrorism. It isn't about safety or security. It is about paranoia. It is about pushing this idea of that, well, this is a Christian nation that is mainly for Christians, and that Muslims are the enemies and they're the terrorists and these types of things. It has no logical basis. You have a better chance of being killed by faulty furniture, by your clothes being set on fire accidentally, and so much more. It has nothing to do with safety. It has everything to do with delusion and paranoia. And we have to remember that Donald Trump ran on a campaign that said he was going to do a total and complete Muslim shutdown and ban. And now he's taking the first steps to accomplish that goal. Of course, there are many lawsuits that are being filed by the ACLU, by CARE, and by very good attorneys all across the nation, and these lawsuits are gonna really do an impact on this. But either way, you need to keep yourself safe, and you need to make sure you understand what's going on as well. Okay, for those of you who are non-citizens, non-green card holders, people who are here on visas, whether student visa, work visa, marriage visa, whatever other type of visa, and even if you are a green card holder, though not all the time, from the 7 countries, and you're already inside the United States, do not leave the United States. Do not leave the United States, because it's a high chance that you will be denied re-entry and you will not be allowed to come back to the United States. So do not leave. And if you're already outside, and you're a student, speak to your university, speak to your businesses, speak to whoever you can, and try to be allowed back into the country. It's very, very important there's this form called I-407. I-407. Many of these basically rogue border agents that people deal with, they are trying to get people who are here on a visa or green card to basically fill out form I-407. And what that form does, literally, I pulled up on my website, is called the record of abandonment of lawful permanent resident status. And what it does, it basically takes away, your right to be in the country. It takes away the idea of the visa and the green card. And I think that's something that really we have to really think about, because basically they're trying to get people to sign a document, and they put pressure on them to sign that document in order for them to basically waive their rights to even be inside the country. Under no circumstance whatsoever should you sign the form I-407, and really it's probably a good idea not to sign any form if possible, but just be aware of that. Why do I mean by rogue agents? Again, you have to realize, like any institution, you have some guys that are good and some guys who are bad guys, right? So in these, especially in the TSA that has high turnover rates, in immigration border, these agencies have a lot of high turnover rate, because it makes sense. If you're working at these agencies and every day you're being forced to like question, people who are on vacations, who are traveling with their families, aren't doing anything wrong, but just because it's your job, you're just questioning it for no purpose. Anybody who has a conscious soul and a heart does not want to stay in that field. They want to quit, they want to leave, and they get out of there. So what happens is, over time, you just have these hardcore, somewhat fanatical people who are like, yeah, I'm keeping America safe from these Muslims. Yeah, I'm keeping it safe. And they basically, I have been told by Donald Trump that you can take your gloves off. There's nobody that's going to overlook what you're doing, and you can go at the Muslims as hard as you want. So what that means is, when people are traveling, if you're a green card holder, visa holder, or even if you're a U.S. citizen who happens to be Muslims, you will be dealt with probably harshly, depending on who the individual is that's there. I'm going to make another video about, for those of you who are actual U.S. citizens, actual U.S. citizen, and we can go in that later. A few stories I want to tell you. CARE, Missouri, we receive cases of people who are not from those 7 countries. One case involving somebody from Pakistan who got married, was coming here with her husband, and her husband's a citizen, she's not a citizen, and she was detained for 2 days, allowed to only make one telephone call, and then deported. Not from those 7 countries. So the reality is, why? Because the discretion of whoever that jerk was who interviewed her decided that we're going to just deport her, and that's what happened to her. So again, you have to really take a lot of caution while you're going there. Remember a few things. If you are a U.S. citizen, this is your country. You cannot be deported anywhere else other than America, right? This is your country. They have to let you in. But what they're going to start doing, because Trump's allowed them to, they might take you what's called secondary interrogation. There's 2 steps. There's primary interrogation, which you have to comply with, which is basically, who are you, where are you coming from, where are you going. If you have $10,000 or more, you have to say, I have more than $10,000. You have to declare it. If you have fruits or whatever, that's primary interrogation. They go through your stuff. Okay, that's understandable. Secondary interrogation is something that you have to be very aware about for American citizens who are Muslims, and even whoever else, but for American citizens especially. The Muslim community represents 1% of the population, but I've heard studies from 50% to 70% of the people who are randomly searched are American Muslims. So if you're a U.S. citizen who is a Muslim and you're being questioned for secondary interrogation, which means they'll come up to you and be like, I'm sorry, sir, we have to basically pull you aside for an extra screening, for an extra search. You're going to be questioned more after the primary one. Number one, what I want every single American Muslim to do is do not answer any question that they ask you for secondary interrogation. Remain silent. Demand that you let them know that you're a U.S. citizen. You're not going to answer any questions, that you want an attorney, and just that's it. And when you do that, they will let you go sooner. If you start talking to them and giving them what they want, this is going to keep you there all day. And they're going to use that information and they send it to the FBI. And the FBI then use it to basically harass, interrogate, and go after the Muslim community like they've been doing for the last 15 years. And then, of course, some of those Muslims, they then coerce into doing terror attacks, which then they stop last minute and then they throw a party for themselves. So again, if you're a U.S. citizen, you're traveling, do not, for secondary screening, do not answer any questions. Let them know calmly and politely that you're a U.S. citizen, that you're not going to answer any questions, and you want your attorney. They have to let you into the country. Do not ever lie to the border agents. Don't ever be misleading to them. Another thing you have to realize is that they might ask you for your laptop, for your cell phone, and other electronic devices. You have to give them that stuff, of course, but you do not, according to the ACLU, you do not have to give them your password, your login to your phone or your laptop or anything like that. They might start asking you for your social media account. Do not give them the access to your social media account. You are not required to do that. And the more you do non-compliance, the sooner they'll likely let you go. And it's only when you comply that then they're gonna, be like, oh, we can get some more information from this guy. Let's keep him another hour. Let's see what he'll give us next hour, so on and so forth. It makes no sense. Do not give them account to your social media account. Do not give them login to your laptop or your cell phone. In fact, it's probably a good idea to carry like a throwaway cell phone, a cell phone that you just use while you're traveling and so on and so forth. This is for U.S. citizens. And again, they are disproportionately targeting American Muslims. They're rude. Many of them. They're really disgusting in many of the things that they do, because again, you have to think logically. Here's this agency. If you're one of these patrol people, your job is to basically be a total jerk, ask people ridiculous questions, and it has high turnover. So the only people that stay there are really many people who have, unfortunately, probably like biases and hatred against Muslims. And they use this opportunity as a way to get a power high, as a way to feel empowered and a way to feel like, oh, wow, I'm going to show this person who's boss, even though, when they go back home, they're probably like total losers or whatever it is. But again, be respectful, be polite, but do not comply. And once every single American Muslim starts to not comply, once all of us start to take this action, you'll see it start changing. And I want all of us to start changing that. That's for U.S. citizens. I hope this video was, inshallah, helpful to everybody. If you have these troubles, contact CARE Missouri. If you're in the Missouri area, contact, Muslim Legal Fund of America, contact whoever else is out there, contact somebody, document it, file a complaint, report it, and let's start fighting back against this, these awful executive orders and this process to basically not keep the country safe, to tarnish American image at home and abroad, to ensure that we are basically demonizing a huge population of people for selfish political gain by the administration, and to empower the right-wing extremists within this country. Let's fight back, and this is one way to fight back for those of you who are Muslim and you're planning to travel. Assalamu alaikum. May peace be upon you.